Hi, everybody. Welcome to Levites Pavilion alongside Amanda Keane. I'm Alex Vispoli. In just a little bit, we'll check in with our sideline reporter, Joel Godet. Well, Princeton came into this season as the overwhelming favorite to win its fourth consecutive Ivy crown, and nothing that the Tigers did in the non-conference will make people doubt that selection, but it's never easy to come on the road to face a Harvard team that plays as hard as the Crimson do.
This Harvard team plays incredibly hard, and this gymnasium is just loud, and it's full of Harvard fans. And of course, the season really starts now for especially these two mid-major programs.
Well, Princeton got its first win of the season well before the season started when Xavier Lee eschewed both the NBA draft and the transfer portal to come back to Princeton, and the Tigers are sure happy he did.
They sure are, and there was a few weeks there where no one was really sure what was going to happen, and him coming back was huge for this season. Over 15 points per game. He just finds a way to score, and he's an excellent passer as well, so when he plays well, they play well.
Harvard figures to rely on its toughness and defense against the Tigers today, and no one on the Crimson personifies those things more than captain Chandler PJ.
PJ is just one of those hard-working guys. Nobody is going to outwork him, according to Coach. He says he's no surprise that he's rebounding well because he is not afraid of doing that dirty work, getting in there and crashing the boards.
Traditionally, Princeton has seen its success buoyed by the three ball, and as we look at the head-to-head matchup, that figures to be an area where Harvard will hope to slow things down.
You know, it's tough when the other team is shooting threes and you're only scoring twos, so they have to get out on the three-point arc and really make sure they're extending their defense, because Princeton, incredible scores. If they get hot, it's going to be a problem for Harvard.
The Tigers won 11 of 15 non-conference games. Princeton has won 4 in a row. Amanda, what do you see as the keys for Princeton to come away with their 12th win of the season?
Well, they've really improved on their team defense, their rotation, so they really have to focus on that as well, make sure Harvard's not out there scoring, and they have to be better at the basics, not fouling, not turning the ball over. Just those little things that they as a team have been working on, they really have to focus on them in order to win this one.
Former Tiger Mitch Henderson in his 14th year leading the Princeton Tigers, Tommy Amaker is the leader of the Crimson. Harvard is 5-8. They've won their last 2, and here's what the Crimson need to do today.
Well, when it comes to this Crimson team, they just have to outwork everybody. That's the number one thing for them. That is what they're known for. They are gritty, they are tough, and they have to win the rebound battle. When it comes to that one, they have to not allow Princeton to have any second chance opportunities. And when we're talking about that working hard, that means those 50-50 balls. If it's out on the floor, if it's a rebound, anything like that, they have to limit Princeton's possessions because they're going to need more in order to beat this team.
Neither one of these teams particularly big. Harvard tallest player 6'7", and the Tigers will start off with the basketball. Philip Byreal is to make a team play on our terms.
When you set that pace early, it is so much better to have your defense out there just really creating offense.
Defense has been good for Princeton on this trip. Hinton with 4 to shoot in the lane, marked by Dalen Davis, and another layup won't go down. That was in a game against St. Joseph's. Here goes Batiste, tough 2.
Both these teams just taking it to the hoop. This is what I love to see. I love that gritty, lots of contact basketball going all the way to the hoop. So many teams these days will just rely on the outside shots and live and die by it, but this is good stuff.
Abdullahi with the baby hook. 4 for Chandler PJ, and we're knotted at 6 just over 4 minutes in.
Both of these teams really finding holes in the defense and using those lanes to streak to the basket. A lot of high pick and rolls, a lot of two-man work up top, and that's really what's opening things up down low.
Draws the brief double team as they swing it back out to Davis. He'll drive, lost his dribble, out to Lee, right wing 3 is cash. 7 for Xavier Lee, the junior from Toronto, has put Princeton up by 3.
That's what we like to call the good shot, better shot. There was a lot of good shot opportunities there, but they waited for the better shot, and that's when they capitalized.
Freshman Hinton gets the rebound. He's been quiet to start. He's been Harvard's leading scorer. Deep 3 coming from Nelson, draws short iron.
These teams have to be gassed. We have not had a whistle at all.
We might go into the under 12 timeout window before we get to our under 16 timeout. Hope you're conditioned for Ivy play. These teams last played last weekend against Division III opponents. Pierce backing down, the sophomore. Oh, nice slip feed, and Abdullahi has 6 points as the Tigers take a 4-point lead.
That was an amazing play right there. Really took his time backing down on the post, and knowing that he had 2 men on him, he was able to get a great pass off. Unselfish.
Shot clock at 10. Chandler Pijay, left hand three is good. And the Harvard captain, 7 points to get the game back to 1.
Huge start out of PJ.
All of a sudden, the offense is starting to wake up. Princeton up to 50% from the field. Second, Harvard getting outworked on the boards 10-7 at this point. You talked about rebounding being key in this one, as Hinton looking to get it going offensively. Crimson get an offensive board here.
Well, you talk about rebounding being the key and Chandler Pijay being a huge part of that. Rebounding is all about effort in position. You don't have to be the biggest guy on the court to be a good rebounder. So you have to put the effort in, and you just have to know where to be.
Hunt can't hit the triple. Harvard had a good run.
That's how it works in this Ivy League. You'll go a decade being the best, and then the next decade's not your time. But when you've been going since 1901, you got the next decade to worry about.
I like this rivalry going for at least another century before it peters out.
Well, it's not going to be like the ACC that has now teams that are nowhere near the Atlantic coast.
Here goes Ben Eisendrath, who comes into the game and hits his first bucket. First year from Los Angeles. Makes it a 1-point game. You don't think someday it's going to be the ancient 18?
It's hard to become ancient, really, is the issue.
Boy, what great effort. You talk about how hard Harvard works. Unable to see it pay off with a bucket on that trip.
He deserved that layup for the amount of work he put in that possession. That's a tough one.
This is Hickey, and he takes hard contact. Well, we talk about Harvard being a tough team to beat here at Levites Pavilion. Numbers bear that out, Amanda. Last decade, Crimson 72+%. But lately, Princeton's been tough to beat home or road.
Well, that's what happens when you're as dominant as this Princeton team has been. But it's so nice to have that home court advantage. So few teams have such an incredible record the way that Harvard does at home. And, you know, this stadium's sold out right now, so it's rocking for sure.
Yeah, not the biggest arena, over 16. Hickey, a guy who's really great in practices, getting more verbal, and has emerged here as of late. He's averaging 10 points a game his last 3, and he's 6 points away from that after the trip to the free throw line.
10 points a game, really good talker, really great communicator. That is just such a key piece of any team.
Hunt, kick out. Harvard moving a little bit better on this possession. Lesmond was briefly open, leaves it off. Reverse lay-in, Austin Hunt. That was beautiful.
Hunt right there used the rim as a defender for himself and was able to get up and under. Great use, knowing that he was a little bit outsized there. There you go. Well, you were talking about sloppy basketball, and right there, a pass to the other team that just happened to get poked out. You just never know. Neither of these teams have really stayed super consistent through this game, but it's also just the beginning of the first half. We had no breaks. Now we've had consistent timeouts. It's been chaos. So maybe we'll start to settle in around here.
Coaches get a chance to retweak some things as Hunt.
Well, you talk about Xavier Lee being a key coming back to this team. Mitch Henderson was also rumored for a few jobs in the offseason, but he, stayed with his alma mater, Xavier Lee, Caden Pierce. This team is really proud to be Tigers, and that is really reflected in how successful they've been.
Iona in December, third most in a game in program history.
That is all about timing, and he had it right there. He knew exactly where that ball was going to be and got his hand on it.
You're right. It's one thing to be able to block, but to do so without fouling as the drive by Davis won't go. Nelson quickly leads things the other way. Hinton trying to find an outlet. Harvard trying to extend the lead. PJ working on Lee and just out-muscles him. PJ with 9 first-half points.
I don't know how many times in this kid's career that we've said out-muscles him. That's the kind of player he is. He's just going to go up, play through contact, and finish strong.
PJ 4 for 5 from the floor. Is getting better as the season's gone on. And turning this possession into potential points.
A tough take at first, going through 3 defenders, missing, getting his own rebound, getting back up. He was frustrated a bit at the end that he wasn't able to finish, but now he has an opportunity to put some points on the board.
Mitch Henderson, a lot of close games, seemingly a season's worth before you even get to Ivy play.
Yeah, when I mentioned the amount of close games, he was like, whew, taking a deep breath. Like,
PJ, a triple! Crimson's 3rd of the game, and Chandler PJ already on his season average in scoring. He's got a dozen. Caden Pierce averaging 11.5 a game. That's his first of this one.
Now this is a great extra pass. He's wide open, Caden Pierce at the top of the key here, sees the lane, and Thomas Batiste does a great job of getting over into help defense, but Pierce sees that, switches to his left hand, gets up, gets the foul in the and one.
Tough defense, but once again, Jackson Hickey finding a way, and he ties the game.
Jackson Hickey finding a way. That's just truly the way he's been playing today. Maybe he's just padding his stats with the rebounds. I don't know. What do you think? Getting
the offensive rebounds, extra chances. Fall away jump shot. Hinton was fouled. Robert Hinton will be at the free throw line. Chance to make himself heard, and he's done that more often than not this season, Amanda. He's been Harvard's top scorer, and even though it hasn't been as red hot lately, he's been doing other things to help Harvard and help the team.
It's always hard when you come out so hot as a new player, as a first year, then all of a sudden you're circled on that scouting report heading up, but he's been finding other ways to do really great things. Obviously 9th in Ivy League in points per game, but really doing a great job driving and dishing and making opportunities for his teammates.
And now Batiste goes to the line.
I'm honestly surprised Batiste even went up for that shot, knowing that Hickey was there ready to defend him. I mean, it's a good call for a foul, but definitely a very risky play, knowing that both of those guys are up in the air like that.
Batiste averaging 10.5 points, 5.5 rebounds. He's also, we mentioned the blocks, about 2 blocks per game. And Harvard's done a nice job neutralizing Lee since that early spurt. And on cue, he answers. He says, nice job on me. I don't think so.
Oh, you think he heard you? He was right there.
Walked right in front of our location, maybe. Just reminding everybody that he's a guy with, you know, Joel mentioned he's top 100 in terms of NBA prospects, but the expectation after, you know, triple-double against St. Joe's and the Ivy League season still to come is Hinton with a right hand says, pay attention to me too. That's his first field goal.
I love that take for him. Like we've talked about, he's such a good drive and disher, but that time he had the step, he had to go up, he had the rim in his favor, so really great take for him.
It's been back and forth with 2 minutes to go before halftime. Lee again, he knew it was way off, but it's rebounded by Peters. In a tough spot, back to Lee, cuts to the basket, you gotta be kidding me! And the foul, Xavier Lee. Showing all the tricks in his bag, and he's at the line to build the Princeton lead.
Now, I'll tell you what, Lee was on the floor prior to this, got up, had a big hit with Austin Hunt, and then to go all the way in and get hit again. I mean, if we had just a Xavier Lee camera on that particular play, he would have faced an incredible amount of contact for that entire possession. He's really playing through it.
Knocking the cob, looking for an outlet. Evan Nelson left all alone, and he doesn't miss from there.
That was huge because Robert Hinton got himself into a kind of peculiar situation where he wasn't going to be able to score. Not a good shot selection anyway, and his teammate helped him out, got in the right position, and nailed the three. Huge bucket before halftime.
See if Princeton times it out for a 2-for-1, and Byreal cashes in. 7 for Byrill. Princeton by 3. About a 10-second difference between shot and game clock.
He was willing that ball to fall into the hoop. It didn't quite get there, didn't get the shooter's roll he was hoping for. But again, this is what we've been talking about for this entire, 10 or so minutes of this game, is Robert Hinton really finding a way to get to the basket and create opportunities.
And Harvard still with fouls to give. You wonder if they're going to use one here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, interesting with Princeton taking this timeout with 5.6 here. They probably have a quick hitter play. Wouldn't surprise me if it was like a lob down low, something like that, although plenty of time with 5 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're cooking up in there.
Or maybe they'll go to this guy, number 1. This is what he did last year here at Levites Pavilion. It was another tour de force performance. The game was closer than the one in Princeton. It was 66-53, but in that game, Xavier Lee had 27 points after he had 33, a career high earlier. You see the average, 38.5, 6.5, 50% from 3. He's always a good option to draw up a play.
Yeah, of course. I think everyone in the gym knows that he's a great option. And I remember that game last year. Wow, he just put on an absolute clinic. This is what I'm talking about. See this box set? It's going to keep swinging around.
Instead it goes to Pierce. Under 5 to go. Harvard doesn't foul, and Pierce uses the window to extend the Princeton advantage to 4 at halftime.
Easy bucket there, easy bucket. As soon as I saw that 4-box set coming out of that timeout, you knew that it was going to be one of those plays that they were going to be able to get an easy bucket off of. Obviously, the first option was Xavier Lee, but then here comes Caden Pierce with an easy drive.
Not a bad second option, Caden Pierce, and his head coach, Mitch Henderson, is with Joel.